This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
This is just completely off the scale cool because glass is a part of our lives. Yeah, you walk into the kitchen, you grab a glass, you grab a plate, whatever it might be. You're seeing it in real time as it's made in an amazing shop in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Prairie Dog Glass is the place. And we're going to dig into one of the gentlemen there that helps facilitate not only the making of projects, but also they teach, they do parties, they do events there. It's really cool. Spoon and Marcus on the program. Hey, buddy, how you doing today?
So good. So good.
So
right now we're in the middle of a class. And
Gotcha.
This is a lot of what we do here at Prairie Dog Glass. So, hey, George, what are we making? A bowl. We're doing a bowl.
Got it. Okay, and I've learned so far that the glass is clear coming from a furnace that is on 24/7 all year long. Maybe they shut it down for maintenance occasionally. I don't even know.
Actually, January is when we shut down and do maintenance and kind of do some updates.
And when you shut down in January, is it shut down for the entire month or just a little period of time?
Usually for about a couple weeks. You know, we rebuild what we need to rebuild because the equipment takes a lot of damage. So we just make sure it's going to run right.
Refresh us. What is the temperature of that main furnace?
The main furnace runs at about 2100 degrees, as does basically all of them. So we have two furnaces on the side of the big furnace, and those run right around the same temperature, give or take a couple hundred degrees.
Gotcha. Okay. So take us through the steps of the bowl that's being made here. I can't tell, but we haven't added color to it yet, have we?
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and right now George is actually getting a gather of glass out of the main furnace. So you can see
wow.
And now you can see we're adding color right now. Gonna let go. Follow me. So now we're headed to what we call the glory hall.
And is this the main furnace?
Actually, well, no, this furnace right here is actually used to reheat our material. So right now we're melting the color into the surface of the clear glass that we got out of the furnace. So that's going to be incorporated into that clear glass.
If you ever needed to, could you do what you're doing now in the main furnace where the clear glass comes from?
Yeah, actually, that's a really traditional way to do it. Like a lot of Italians do that type of blowing, where they just have one source of heat that they're using. It's a lot more efficient.
The only thing I wonder about is, let's say that's all clear glass. That's where it's stored for use to get it and to make something. Now you've added color to it. Now you put it back in. If you put it back into that main furnace, let's just say the glass with the color on it fell off and now it's in that furnace. You'd have a problem though, wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah. You don't want to drip it back into the furnace. That's for sure. I mean, usually it disappears, but if there's a lot of color, that could throw people off for sure.
What are the chances of, let's say what they're working on right now, going bad and falling off the pipe? Does it happen a lot or just occasionally or what?
It happens more than we like. And that's just kind of the way that glass works. There's always a chance there's going to be there's always a chance it's going to have an accident.
Yep. Which is another reason why, if you have another furnace, you want to use that one, i.e., the glory hole, as opposed to the main one.
Right, right. Yeah. Usually that kind of thing happens like right at the end of the piece. So it's one of those things where if you can, if you've been doing it long enough, it actually the chances are relatively low. See, glass blowing is all about attention. So if you lose your train of thought or your attention, then that's going to really affect the piece that you're making.
So you have to be on point, you have to be focused, and it's in a very short period of time, it seems.
Right, right.
Mm. So tell us
Yep.
what stage are we in right now? We've added the color.
So right now we're doing something called blocking. So you can see they're dipping it in some water.
And you have to continuously be in motion here.
Yeah, so you're constantly turning the pipe to keep the glass on the from falling off the pipe. So you're always turning. And so what they're doing right now is they're just waiting for this little bit of glass there. So I'll come to kind of zoom in. They're waiting for that glass to cool off, and they're going to get a little bit more clear glass.
So you're saying, Spooner, that they're going to add some clear to that?
Yes. Yeah, they're going to go for what's called a gather. So they're going to take it back over to the furnace, and they're going to dip that into the clear glass, and then and then they'll get more. That's how you build mass up, because they want a nice big bowl. You have to have plenty of glass to work with.
Mm. I'm intrigued, this first time for me and everybody watching this, how you can add the color, and all you do is just roll it in some colored glass that wasn't heated yet, and the patterns and the shapes that come about from that is just amazing.
Yeah, a lot of it's. I mean, you have a general idea of what's going to happen, but in the end, the final result is relatively random. You can kind of control it up into a point, and then it kind of has a mind of its own.
Can you really control where the color goes and what the pattern's going to look like?
Well, yeah, to a point. Of course, right now we have white and yellow and blue on the bubble, and of course those colors change when it gets hot, so it doesn't look. We can see the white and the blue, but the yellow isn't showing up yet. So now we're going to go over and get a gather of glass.
And the white that we're seeing, what color do you think that will be?
The white will be white for sure, because some colors change, but some colors just they get a little darker most of the time. Oh, we actually have brown on there. So we have brown, white, and blue. So now we're doing what's called blocking. And so we're kind of shaping the glass.
Start getting a little bigger. Do you see it getting bigger? Yeah.
So that's a wooden kind of like ladle that we're using to shape the glass.
Now, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and get that wet and eat it one more time. Okay.
All right. So we have the mass that we are going to use. So that was the last gather. And so now we're going to go ahead and start blowing this bowl out.
That's a lot more glass on there than there was a minute ago.
Right. It usually doubles in weight every time you dip it. So it's kind of like exponential. Like you get like, a little bit of glass, and then you get twice as much glass, and then you get twice as much glass as you had after that second gather. So it's a kind of exponential kind of thing. So now we're getting ready to do a jack line.
I don't know why. I think some guy named Jack invented it. But what I want you to do is just come right here and point your finger at it.
So we're going to be putting what's called a jack line into the piece, and that's where it's going to break off the pipe. Because after we're done blowing the first half of it out, we put another pipe on the tip of that bubble is going to be the bottom of the bowl.
Honestly, being a layman and just watching this and having watched it before, this is the part that scares me.
All right, there we go. And believe it or not, this is your first time blowing glass, right? Okay, cool. So this is, what's your name? Candace. So Candace, this is Candace, and she's blowing glass just for the first time.
Wow. So now essentially the best description I can have here is scoring where the glass meets the pipe, and that's where you intentionally want it to be cut to leave it from the pipe there.
Yeah, you basically make a constriction. So let's kind of zoom in here.
Now a little more. Very good. Stay right there. That's very good. All right, Candace, go ahead, come away and put those right in the bucket.
So see, we made that constriction right there where the bubble attaches to the pipe. And after that constriction gets cold, then we're going to break that line. And that's how the bubble detaches from the pipe.
How often, Spooner, have you had it where it just went bloop and fell off?
Pretty often. Like I said, well, of course, I've been doing this for 30 years, so there's been a lot of opportunity for that. And yeah, it really depends on your experience level. The more you know about the process, the less that happens.
Mm.
So now we're getting ready to use a paddle, and we're going to flatten the bottom of the bowl. So now our bubble is blown out to the point where we're going to just flatten the bottom, and then we're going to transfer the bubble onto another pipe.
If that were to fall off right now, as you were, what's that term again? I'm calling it scoring it, but what is it?
It's called jacking.
Okay.
So the tool we use is called the jacks. And so, yeah, the verb would be jacking.
So if that were to fall and hit the floor right now, what would happen?
Well, probably it wouldn't break because it's so hot. So it has to be below probably, I would say, 800 degrees for it to actually crack. So, it actually can take a hit. Sometimes it'll fall on the floor and we can pick it up and keep going.
Oh,
it's only if only if it breaks does it, we wouldn't be able to do that.
So it would just be a blob of molten glass on the floor, and I guess no harm done as long as it didn't come in contact with anybody, and potentially you could lift it up off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So now we're getting ready to do the transfer, and we're gonna get another pipe and stick that to the bottom of the bubble, and then we're gonna go ahead and break it off that pipe.
Gotcha.
So now Candace has the bubble, and George is going to get another pipe, and that pipe is called a punty. So George is actually gathering a little bit of glass out of the furnace right now, and he's going to bring that over and stick it to the bottom of the bubble there.
What I'm going to do, he's going to just attach right here. Now I want you to do here's the hard part. You ready? Let go. And you got it on the first try. That's awesome.
All right. So now he's getting ready to break it off.
So he's breaking it off and then transferring it to the other pipe. Am I seeing that right?
Right. Correct.
Wow.
So now he's just pulling that off, making sure it's cold enough, and then he's going to, you see, he just taps the pipe.
Amazing.
And it breaks right off, right where we put the jack line.
That is amazing.
So now that we basically reversed, the side. So the bottom became the top kind of. So now we're going to go ahead and get this and open up that hole that's left there where it got broken, and we're gonna open it into a bowl.
So I would assume that very soon it will start looking like a bowl.
Right. Actually, it's probably within about 5 minutes we're gonna have our bowl. Right now, he's just kind of reheating the top half of that where that hole is.
I think I've got enough heat here. I'm going to come back to the bench. Now I'm going to sit down. What I want you to do is put both those plates in there. Good. Now go down like I showed you. Right.
So we're just opening up that hole slowly, and they're using the jacks to open up that hole.
Gotcha.
And then they're going to do that one more time. And then after that, they're going to get it really, really hot and spin it really fast, and it's going to kind of flare out. And then they're going to hold it down, and it's going to make these kind of ruffled edges to the bowl. So you get this kind of wavy bowl effect.
Down. Very good. Very good. Candace, it looks ugly, but that's great. Go ahead.
So you see how that vessel starts to take shape. So now we're going to go ahead and spin it out. So I'm going to get right over here and see if we can get a good vantage point.
So literally, I'm going to increase my speed. I'm just going to speed it up. And by doing that, we're going to see it start to open. See it opening? That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to come here.
Oh, wow.
So you see how he holds it down and it kind of folds and it gets a nice kind of folded lip. So there's our finished bowl.
Amazing. So now we got to do the same. We got to jack that off again, right?
Right. So now what he's going to do is just get some tweezers and drip some water there on the bottom, and that'll release the bowl from that pipe. So you see how he's got a file actually. And I'm going to change my position over here because they're going to go right behind me. So now it's going to go into what's called an annealer. So you see, they're placing it in a kiln. There we go.
Amazing. Just one tap gets that done. It's just like, that's crazy.
Right. It's all about vibration. So all those little vibrations. All right, I'm back. So all those little vibrations just go down the pipe when you tap it. It just breaks, like wherever it's the coldest, it's going to break right where it's cold. So that's kind of how that works.
So now with that bowl put in that furnace, that oven there, what prevents it? Like he put it down, face down actually. And what prevents it from going, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's the temperature. So that kiln that we put it in, it sits at 950 degrees, which sounds very hot, but for glass, that's actually kind of cold. So, you know, we're working the glass between 1900 and 2000 degrees when it's liquid. And so by the time he puts it into the kiln, it's already pretty much frozen where it's going to be. And then it sits in there and goes through an annealing process. So the annealing process basically usually takes overnight, at least here at this shop. Sometimes annealing can go for weeks. Depends on how thick the piece of glass is. So it'll sit there all day, and then we have a computer up on the wall, and we tell the computer to bring the kiln down very slowly. So it cools very slowly. And basically what's happening there is, well, okay, so if you can imagine that bowl is different temperatures all over the place. And if we just let it cool off just like that, if we just tapped it off out in the open here, it would break because it's shrinking at different rates because it's different temperatures all over the place, right? So when it cools, it shrinks by almost 1%, okay? So not very noticeably at all, but it's enough to cause stress inside the glass. And so when you put it into the annealer, it becomes one temperature. Okay, so that's a really important concept to understand. So it being one temperature and then cooling slowly gives it a chance to shrink evenly. Okay, and that's how you end up with a whole piece of glass.
So where that pipe was attached to the bottom of the bowl, and then Candace tapped it, and then it went into that 900-degree oven.
Yep.
Is there going to be any burrs of glass or anything left over?
Very observant. Yeah. So there'll be a little piece of glass where it was stuck there. And so tomorrow, when it's cool enough, we take that piece of glass out of the kiln and take it to a bunch of lapidary equipment. So we have these big grinders, like flat lapping wheels and blades that can chew through that glass very quickly. It's a diamond coated stuff a lot of the time, and then flatten the bottom out, and that makes for a nice flat bottom. So there's a lot of people don't realize how much what we call cold work goes into the piece after we do the hot work. So there's the hot work, and then there's the cold work. And the cold work, actually, you can do a lot with cold work. You can do, like, if you can imagine, like, cut crystal, that's cold work. So you're basically working on a lathe and cutting the glass with these grinders.
Now, the top of it with that very beautiful shape, is there anything that needs to get done there, or that's all going to be that's going to be smooth and good?
That's just how it is. Like I always like to say gravity is the best shaper, because you can tool it all day, but gravity in the end gives it the most beautiful kind of grace. You know what I mean? Like you're not using a tool on it. You're just letting gravity let it flow, and that always that's really
Just
what it's all about, is getting the gravity.
That bowl, I've seen that shape many times before.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's a kind of easy thing. So, actually, if you were trying to make like a regular bowl, like that had a nice round top and a kind of classic bowl shape, that's one of the hardest shapes to make.
I would imagine after watching what I just saw.
Yeah. But if you use gravity, you can spin it out and just hang it and get that beautiful shape without even touching it.
Right. That seems like to do that classic shape would be, I mean, to keep it symmetrical all the way around. That seems like that's a challenge.
Well, that's the thing about that shape, is that it's a random kind of shape, and I've always thought that the colors in the glass have different viscosities, and so the colors are going to affect the way that shape takes form. Okay, so when you use gravity, you're relying on a couple different things, heat, and then the viscosity of the glass, and all of those colors have different viscosities, so you end up with something different every time.
I never thought about that, but yeah, you got different. It's not that just one clear glass. Now you're working with the other ones, have different temperature points, viscosity. Fascinating. Spooner, thanks for this today. It was cool of you walking around with the camera. It was like, I feel like I'm there. I really do.
I'm a close person.
Yeah, super cool. Check it out, Santa Fe, New Mexico. It is Prairie Dog Glass. You guys do so much, from birthday parties, lessons. You sell glass and designs, and bachelorette parties too, I learned. Really cool.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate you being on here today. Happy holidays to you and everybody there. And we shall catch up soon. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.